What's up everyone, this is awesome. Today we have the designer of the new Nike Epic React Flyknit, Mr. Ernest Kim. Hi. Mr. Kim, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, thank you.
Okay, so my first question today, kind of related to your outfit today, is that you were known as Professor K. Is that because of your last name Kim, or is that because of the website you started, Kicksology?
You know, that's so funny you asked that because I don't even remember anymore. Because I definitely, I wanted to come up with a pseudonym. You know, I didn't want to write using my real name. I can't remember now if the K was for Kim or for Kicksology. So I guess we could say it was for either.
Speaking of Kicksology.net, you started to write sneaker reviews. That was over 10 years ago, long before the world sneaker culture even exists. Why did you choose to do that?
Inspired me was the products. And specifically, the first product that inspired me was the original Nike Flyknit, designed by Eric Avar. I don't know if you remember that shoe.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right? It was so crazy looking back in those days. And my friend and we used to go, I lived in Chicago at the time. We used to go to the Nike store in Chicago to look at what was new from Nike. And we saw that shoe, and our first reaction was, that's just so crazy. Who would ever wear that? And he dared me to try it on. And so I did, and it blew my mind. I didn't think a shoe could ever feel that good, a basketball shoe. But it was very expensive. You know, at that time it was $165 US, I think. And so I decided, oh, I'll go home, see if I could find reviews, because there's reviews for everything, right? Even back then. But I went and I looked and there were no reviews. So, you know, of course I bought them because I love sneakers and I love them. And I thought, how many other people are out there who would never even try these shoes because maybe they were just a little bit too far out for them aesthetically. So that's what led me to create Kicksology.net. I wanted to create a place where people could go to learn about these incredible new innovative shoes and understand if they were the right shoe for them, so they can get a sense for whether it would be worth making that investment.
But I saw the website was closed for a while. What happened there?
Honestly, I just started it for fun. I didn't think it was going to become popular, and it became very popular. And in those days, you actually had to pay for your bandwidth. So if you had a lot of traffic, you would have to pay more money. And it got to the point where it was just too expensive. So I decided to shut it down, but I continued to write reviews for magazines.
Does write sneaker reviews help you to join Nike, or is there any relation between these two things?
Well, I'd say certainly from the perspective of looking at products with a critical eye. That is a skill that you absolutely need as a product reviewer, but also as a product line manager or product marketer, which is what my role is within Nike. It's that same kind of set of skills where you want to try to understand what the needs are, what runners or athletes are looking for, and articulating those needs in the form of a brief. It's in a way the opposite of writing a review, but it requires the same skill sets. So I think that history has definitely helped me a lot in my career at Nike.
Okay. Other than looking at things in a critical point of view, is there any other skills you need to fulfill the transition from a shoe reviewer to a shoe designer?
I think to me the most important is, I don't know how you would translate it, but this term empathy.
Yeah, empathy.
Yeah, trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand their perspective. Because oftentimes as a product marketer, product manager, we really have to try to understand what people mean and not just what they say, because they might say something using the language that they have access to, but it might not exactly express what they mean because they have no language to try to express that. Because if they just use the same language, you'd end up with the same products at the end, right? So as a product manager, you really have to have that empathy to kind of get into someone else's shoes or their head and understand that when they say something, they might actually mean something richer and deeper than that. So to me, that's probably the biggest skill that you need as a product manager.
Okay, so let's go back to the shoe. First, we saw Nike React technology appears on Nike basketball, such as Hyperdunk 2017 and the Jordan Superfly. This time, it comes to a running shoe. So material-wise, is there any difference?
That's a great question. The foam itself is exactly the same, the Nike React foam, but there is a difference in the construction. So in the Hyperdunk and the Superfly, because those athletes, basketball athletes, have such different needs. First, their size, they're so much bigger, and there's so much importance in the ability to deliver on lateral stability. We encase the React foam inside of a shell, a firmer carrier. And that's what enables us to deliver that combination of cushioning and stability for basketball. In the case of running, because it's just a purely linear sport, we didn't have to use that outer shell. So in the new Nike Epic React, you're getting a 100% Nike React experience underfoot.
Yeah, the one thing I think we like to do when we see a new shoe is to kind of squeeze it, see how it feels. Right. So the first thing I got, the Hyperdunk 2017, is also squeeze it. Yeah. But I feel that's not the product I heard about. How about this part, the TPU on the heel part?
Yeah, actually, that was something that came directly from feedback we received from runners. Okay. So first, the team wanted to make sure that we could maximize that Nike React experience underfoot. So they wanted to make the midsole as tall as it could possibly be so that you get as much cushioning as possible. But when you increase the height, you also have to increase the width so that the shoe will be stable enough for running. So we landed on this, what we call this midsole shelf design, which is enabling us to maximize both the height and the width of the midsole. But some runners, particularly runners who land on their heels, told us that the shoe felt a little bit unstable for them.
That was the feedback you guys got from the sample?
Exactly, from those original prototypes. And so that's what led to the introduction of this TPU, injection molded TPU heel clip, which delivers the support that heel strikers need exactly where they need it without having any negative impact on weight or the overall transition of the shoe.
Cool. Okay, so I noticed that there are 4 essential features about the Epic React. That was cushioning, lightweight, energy return, and durability. So for you personally, which one of these 4 has the most significant improvement comparing to Lunar?
This might seem like a bit of a cop-out answer, but I actually think that the most important thing is the fact that we're delivering all 4 of those benefits in one package at such a high level. So every one of those attributes, the cushioning, the energy return, the lightweight, and the durability, are improved in double-digit percentages versus Lunarlon. So every one of those things is significantly improved upon. If you look at the specific numbers, the one where we've seen the biggest gain is in durability, where we're seeing runners going up to 500 miles and beyond of wear and telling us that they just don't notice any degradation in either the cushioning or the energy return properties. So if you had to pick one, I'd say that one, but to me, the bigger benefit is the fact that you're getting all of those things in one.
Yeah, to me, the durability part is also very important because in Lunar, or even in the shoe they used for Breaking 2, the Vaporfly Elite, when you run on the shoe, you can still see the lines. But here, no matter how you squeeze it, it will stay the same, right?
Right, and so with ZoomX, that we're very excited about that as well. We call ZoomX our fastest foam ever, because it was truly engineered specifically for the needs of the world's most elite marathoners, exactly. But you do get some compromises associated with that, and that's what's great about React and why we call it our most complete foam ever, is that you perhaps don't get quite as much energy return as you do with ZoomX, but you get all of those other benefits, the lightweight and the durability as well.
So that's maybe more suitable for normal consumers.
Right, exactly. That was our target for Nike React. Those everyday runners who want a shoe that they can log as many miles in as they want to log without even having to think about their shoes. That was our primary view. So with ZoomX, we worked with athletes like Eliud Kipchoge. With React, we worked with those everyday runners to deliver a running experience that they would love. What's been interesting to see, though, is that as we've gotten to these later stages of prototypes, we did give the shoe to some of our elite athletes as well, like Eliud Kipchoge and some of them.
You tried those too?
Yeah, exactly. And what's been exciting to see is that even though these shoes weren't designed specifically for them, athletes like Eliud have told us that they really love the Epic React for doing what they call their easy runs.
Okay.
So for him, that's a 20-mile run at about a 6-minute, 30-second per mile pace. But for him, this is the perfect shoe for that, when he's not going at his fastest.
That's very nice to know. And also, we kind of see the texture from the outsole. Textures are quite unique. So is there a new technology you guys applied to generate those kind of texture?
Yes, we used something that we call computational design. Actually have a proprietary algorithm, basically a lot of math. And we tell that algorithm that we want some specific performance properties. So for example, we might tell it that along what we call that center pressure path, we want more cushioning. And so that algorithm will then vary the geometry, this fluid geometry, so that we can deliver more cushioning along that path by making the fluid geometry deeper along that path. But then along the sidewall, and particularly along the arch sidewall, we might tell that algorithm we want more support, so less compressibility. And so then the algorithm will make the geometry in that region more shallow.
Okay. I think it's even nice to look from outside.
And
when you know about the story behind it, it's even better. Okay, last question. What's the most awesome thing you've bought recently?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I'd say
I know you love lots of gadgets, watches.
I do. Yeah. Actually, I would probably say it is this watch that I bought late last year. It's I'm actually not particularly a big fan of old vintage watches, but this is a vintage watch.
Yeah.
It was made in 1975. It's a Seiko diving watch. And what makes this an awesome product to me is that when it was introduced in 1975, it was not a luxury product. I believe it cost $95 back when it was launched. And even today with inflation, it would be like $450. So it's not
definitely not luxury.
Yeah, it's not a luxury product, but it's become, it certainly costs more than that today to buy this because it had an authenticity and an integrity to its design that has allowed it to last all these decades. To me, that's something that I hope we can do in our products as well. That if we can capture that authenticity and that integrity so that people can see that it's not only a beautiful product, but also a highly functional product. There's a truth to it.
Cool. Okay, then the second part is, what is the most awesome place you've been to recently?
Oh, obviously Shanghai. It's amazing. Well, I should say this is the first year. Late last year was the first time I had the opportunity to visit Shanghai, and it really is obviously you live here, so but it's a remarkable place, and to see such dynamism, I think, so much energy is just a remarkable thing. So I feel very fortunate to have had this opportunity to visit Shanghai late last year and then come back again now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Great to meet you.